Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Roommate Rivalry. It has been a long time coming. The return of the boys. Now, before I introduce the two gentlemen next to me, I want to quickly shout out Petey Celeberti.
Petey
could not be here. He has class. There's a lot of time problems. There might be a rotating door of people here, but you know, day one we had to get the veterans in. So Kevin Walsh and alongside me, Ant Lazito, Joe Janis. Gentlemen, how's it going?
Going great.
Good. Everything's good.
You guys excited for some football? It's been a while.
Yeah, less than a week. I'm gonna see my Dolphins win the whole thing, man.
I mean, that's what we're gonna get into today. We have a 2-hour special today that we're going to be talking about all NFL, but we are going to do the first segment on college football because we're not going to disrespect college football because that is some exciting stuff going on there. A lot of really good storylines, and I guess we'll just use that as our segue into the first segment, college football. We'll start off with Ohio State. Now, this was something that Joe told me. Ohio State was the first team to ever be unanimously ranked number one
preseason.
In the preseason.
Yes.
So, with that being said, a lot of expectations.
First team ever, man. That's crazy.
I mean, that's really high praise for a team like that. And interesting is that team got that while not knowing who their quarterback was going to be.
Starting quarterback, I mean.
Yeah. I mean, so they come in, and it's Cardale Jones. Now, I'm personally a fan of Cardale. I think that he's going to end up being a top 5 pick. So,
really?
watching...
You really think top 5 pick?
To be honest, what I saw from Cardale Jones, and this might be crazy, I saw some Ben Roethlisberger.
Yep.
That's kind of what he reminded me of.
Yeah,
little bit maybe more run-oriented, but that big body, great arm to just sling it downfield. I think that Cardale Jones looks like a future superstar. I mean, college superstar.
I think maybe you're jumping in right now because you could say Tim Tebow was.
I understand that. I'm going to say he looks like a college superstar, and I think that he's going to do well come NFL when he gets there. But I'll ask you guys, because I'm pretty sure we all watched this game. What did you see from Ohio State in Game 1? Did you like what you saw? Concerns? What were your thoughts?
At first, I thought they started out great. Like the first quarter, they were 14-0. Then it started to slow down a little bit, and they, to be honest, I think Cordell threw a pick, which started it up, and then Virginia Tech scored, and then I think a fumble happened next. And Virginia Tech was back in the game, and they were winning at halftime. And I was like, "Whoa, wait a second!" Ohio State was
a quick turnaround.
Yeah, very quick. And then as soon as after halftime, it was all Ohio State, and it was a great game to watch. And they proved that they deserve the number 1 seed, beating a good. Virginia Tech's a good team.
Virginia Tech, if you guys didn't know, was the only team who beat Ohio State
last year. Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's a big win for Ohio State. And what were your thoughts on the game?
They're the best team I've ever seen since Alabama, I'd probably say. Like when they're winning like 3 out of 4, like those type of teams. Well, they have like 3 potential people that could go top 5 or top 10 with Elliott, Bosa, who's gonna go number 1, I think, and Cardale Jones, as you said.
Whoa, Elliott going number 1?
No, I said Bosa.
I mean, if that team doesn't need quarterback, I could see. I mean, Bosa didn't even play Game 1.
Well, did you see Elliott? His first carry of the season was an 80-yard touchdown run.
80-yard touchdown.
That's crazy. But he did have a fumble in the game, I think. I think
that was he fumbled the punt.
He's not their normal punt returner. Their punt returner actually was also suspended for Game 1. They had a couple suspensions.
You know who looked nice? What's his name? Braxton Miller. Nice with the spin move and everything.
I think this is going to be the first time ever you will see that this team is going to have 3 legit Heisman candidates.
Yes.
Because Cardale Jones as the quarterback is definitely going to be in the conversation.
Do you think Braxton Miller's a Heisman candidate as a receiver? Or you're saying like he was as a quarterback?
He'll be as a receiver.
No, I know that, but I'm saying in the past he was a Heisman.
I mean on this current team.
Oh, so you mean at their positions right now?
Yeah, like right now the way this team is constructed.
Even though JT Barrett's not going to be the starter?
No.
You're just saying they have potential to be.
I'm saying that Cardale Jones has the potential to be in the final 3 of the Heisman.
Okay, so
Ezekiel Elliott definitely has that potential.
Oh, okay.
And Braxton Miller.
I thought you meant the
not JT Barrett. I'm talking about Ezekiel Elliott.
Okay, yeah.
Because Elliott who I didn't like, only had 4 carries in the first half, and the fourth one came like 15 seconds left. So really, he only had 3 carries in the first half.
I mean, he had an 80-yard.
Yeah, and no, but what I'm saying
he
is,
could take over a game at any time.
but I don't like how Urban Meyer didn't go to him.
I think it was more to prove. Like, I think they knew they could beat Virginia Tech,
Right.
and I think he wanted to see what Cordell Jones can do, and he
That's
wanted
true.
to see like
That's true.
if he was the championship winner of last year, if he can remain the starting quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it was like a test for the quarterback position.
Virginia Tech also has one of the best front fours in football too.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
And
I
like
know-
they knew they could pass them, so why not?
Right. I think that is true. I mean, like I said, I just thought that, I don't know, for me, when you see a guy run 80 yards and on his first run, he got a touchdown, like, I would just think hand him the ball. But you know what? I don't know why that didn't cross my mind. I think that makes sense. You know, also good front four, but you definitely, you want to find out what you have in
Okay,
Cordell Jones.
well, think about this. After Elliott, because that was the first quarter, he did 80 yards.
Yeah, it was
his
it was
first carry.
the second drive.
So
first
so
carry.
after that, it's like, all right, he just got an 80-yard touchdown run. They're up 14-0.
Yeah.
Let's test the quarterback out.
Let's figure
you
out
know
what
what I'm
we have
saying?
here.
It's like
Yeah.
he just ran an 80-yard touchdown. We just, you know what I'm saying? Like, we know what he could do. Elliott just proved that he can run the ball good.
I mean, honestly,
as well.
they remind me of the Kentucky Wildcats of basketball. Like, just because like they'll do anything to win. Like they don't care about stats. I feel like.
Yeah, there's not much selfishness going on. And
Like
just
Urban Meyer's not gonna go with Elliott just because he can. He's gonna
Right.
do whatever it takes to win, and like whatever the best way is.
And I think in regards to the praise that the team is getting is similar to last year's Kentucky Wildcat team. When you think about, you know, everyone looked at Kentucky. I mean, just unbeatable. Unbeatable. There's no way anyone's going to beat them. They pulled it up the other day on the game, how they are favored by double digits.
And 99%, like almost every
almost
game.
every game. I mean, the only game that people say they could lose is this when they're going to play Michigan State,
Yeah,
which
it's possible.
which will be interesting. And I think that's
I think
kind of
it'll depend how Michigan State does until that point.
Yeah, I mean Michigan State.
And they got a big test
yeah,
Saturday.
yeah, so I mean we'll see how that goes. Now to me, so another like the second storyline that really popped out was Alabama. When you think about it, Alabama, you know, past 2 seasons, I would say, you know, weren't the traditional Nick Saban Alabama teams dominating. Basically, just seemed like better than every single other team that took the field. An interesting stat that I found was last season was only the second time ever in the Nick Saban era that he didn't have a defense in the top 5. The first season was actually his first year there. So when you look at this team, their formula for success was elite running back, stellar defense. You know, Trent Richardson, even though he's now doesn't
Mark Ingram
doesn't even get a uniform. Mark Ingram, Eddie Lacy, T.J. Yeldon. I mean, they just produced running back after running back after running back, and it seems
now Henry's
like they did it again with Derrick Henry. I mean, 144 yards and 3 touchdowns. Wisconsin was ranked 20th. They just destroyed.
Coker, their quarterback, went 15 for 21.
Yeah, which
200 and some yards, I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, and last year Wisconsin, big run team, especially because they had Melvin Gordon. They finished the day on 40 yards rushing, on I think it was 12 attempts. Now, realistically, they got minus 24 because of 3 sacks, so it was really 64 rushing yards. But that's still well under 3 yards per carry to a team that's all about running. That is so impressive. And I think that, truthfully, as good as Ohio State is, this Alabama team is going to start to get some serious recognition.
Yeah.
And we mentioned
They have what?
they not only did they jump TCU, they got a vote. They got 1 vote to be the number one team.
Number 1, really?
So,
Oh wait, how?
what do you mean? Like,
I
so
mean, there's people that vote.
yeah. So there's I'm actually I'll put a
Oh, you mean? Oh, this week they voted.
Yeah, this week.
Oh,
In
okay.
the-
I thought you were talking about
Yeah.
like the
So
preseason
in the-
because I was gonna say they were. Yeah.
Yeah, not in the preseason. In the coaches poll, not in the AP top 25, but in the coaches poll, where they rank everything, 63 votes went to Ohio State, and only
one
one
went to
and,
Alabama.
one went to Alabama. Now in the AP top
That
25,
one guy.
yeah, AP
That one
25,
guy.
everyone went Ohio State, which is still understandable, but I think it shows that Alabama is going to really start to make noise and knock on the door of Michigan State. Similar to what we saw last year, Joe, you were a real big advocate for Florida State being moved down, even though they were winning games, because they weren't doing it
playing
impressively.
anyone. They weren't playing colleges
Oh,
that were.
yeah.
Ohio State is the easiest schedule.
Ohio
known to
State
man.
is playing
Nobody.
nobody's.
Yeah, so is
and
it,
Alabama
I mean,
is
I have
gonna
to
be
see how the
playing-
season goes
Alabama
on.
has like the hardest schedule I've
Okay,
ever
yeah.
seen.
I mean,
So
yeah,
I'm
they
saying,
obviously
I
have
think
a tough.
Ohio State
conference,
needs
but-
to dominate the way they did last night.
If Ohio State
Look,
goes
if it's-
undefeated, they're gonna be number 1.
Look, yeah, I mean, Florida State, they remain what, one?
But
They
towards the end, they ended up.
they fell back.
Yeah.
Because maybe the voters and stuff realized it, but
Mhm.
I feel like if Ohio State has that easy of a schedule, they should fall back too.
Yeah.
Because even though they were ranked number one, this and that, I just think if a team plays harder teams, tougher teams, I mean, they should get more recognition and more praise than if Ohio State's playing like a not a ranked team and like a nobody team that they should beat easily.
Yeah, I think that I mean that to me is something that, you know, I'll be honest with you, and I'm honest with myself. Last year I fought you on. I said that Florida State deserved to be number one. How are you going to take it away from the defending champions? They find ways to win, but you know the way I'm even thinking about it is just if you're playing nobodies and they're close games, what would happen if you were playing a schedule like Alabama?
Exactly.
And I think that is something that last year I'll be honest,
They can't
I was
really change
a little
that,
bit
though, right?
ignorant to.
They can't really change like the schedules. 'Cause
No, I mean
play
they
in
can't.
conference.
But what something that
it's really not their fault.
It's not their fault, but
it's not their fault. But they also need to take advantage, and they need to beat teams the way they beat Virginia Tech.
I think they'll do it easily.
Well, I mean, if they do it easily, then
Who's
they
the
deserve
toughest
that.
team they play this year? Do you know?
Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Outside of that,
I mean,
they
I don't
play
think
Jim Harbaugh, Michigan last game of the season,
think that'll be-
and the first
And Harbaugh
thi-
lost.
and this Virginia Tech game. That's
I mean,
that's the only three tough games.
Michigan could be a tough game depending on how they end up.
I mean, look, the huge
It's
rivalry.
still a rivalry.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
still-
it is a rivalry.
You know how we all think about rivalries on this show. Those
Yeah.
games are always close.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll definitely see how that's going to come out. Quickly before we wrap this segment up, I'll ask you guys though: did anything outside of those two top teams jump out at you over this week one of college football?
Chubb from Georgia still killing it. Still a Heisman candidate, possibly if he keeps doing what he's doing. He had 16 carries, 120 and change, and 2 TDs for Georgia.
Yeah, and I think with Chubbs too is they blew out the team they played 51-14, I believe was that score.
Yeah.
You know, only 16 carries. There are going to be games where Chubbs gets the ball 30 times.
Mm-hmm.
So the more close games Georgia plays in, the better his numbers will be. So I think that is going to be definitely an interesting thing to look out for.
It's definitely fun to see like their really good running backs again in college football.
Yeah, it's
and
exciting.
what's his name? Fournette.
Leonard Fournette, unfortunately, LSU didn't play due to weather last week. I really was excited to watch him.
Really good running backs. It's fun.
I mean, for me, something that definitely jumped out was, Notre Dame finally moved on from Everett Goldston.
I was gonna say.
Malik Zaire had maybe the best week of any quarterback in week one. 19 for 22, 313 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks.
Wow.
And I mean, obviously they played Texas, who's not ranked.
Like all these
still
like big teams
respectable.
are versus like nobody. So it's like
Texas. I mean,
it's like
once
but
a great.
Texas is still it's
Texas.
it's a lot more respectable than most.
yeah.
Then who was it? I believe it was Georgia Tech played Appalachian State or something like. And they
No, I know what you're saying. This is like a
If you really want
want
to talk about a team, FIU won this week. You know what I'm saying? They won by 1 point, but they stood strong.
FIU, in all honesty, they did win a game
Thank
that they
you.
weren't supposed to win.
Thank you.
So at the end of the
FIU.
day, you do have to give that team their credit. Now, quickly, we are going to throw it over to Ant for the preview of Week 2 of the college football season.
Okay. They're not that many good games, but like depends what you like. We have the U, which is Miami versus Florida Atlantic. We have the number 9 Notre Dame versus Virginia. Number 19 Oklahoma Sooners versus the Tennessee, who is number 23. The number 14 LSU versus number 25 Mississippi State. That'll be a good one. And the big game, which is Saturday, which is number 7 Oregon versus number 5 Michigan State.
This is